Well, we're going to get started in our yin flow today. We're going to be mostly yin, but a little bit of flow element, just since it has that title of yin flow. There'll be a couple points where we actually flow in and out of poses, and then there'll be points where we're just holding and steeping in stillness. I thought what I would talk about today is a little bit of inspiration from my retreat out in Utah. We were able to go to Zion National Park a couple times, and we were able to go to Coral Sand. Uh, it's a state park that has all these sand dunes that are this rich coral color. And when we were going on that particular adventure, I stopped by the front desk. I told them what we were doing. And the gentleman there said, "Hey, if you're going all the way to Coral Sands, you should go check out the Dragon Caves." And I was like, "Dragon Caves? What's that?" And he said it wasn't something that a lot of people knew about. It was kind of like a little hidden local gem. And he said it was right off the highway. And some people referred to it as Belly of the Dragon. So when I looked it up, I was shocked to see these really cool photographs. And we took a detour, off the highway to check out Belly of the Dragon. And it was this cave in the side of the mountain, and you went through this long tunnel of sandstone, and then there was a trail on the opposite end of that as well. And within the cave, because it's sandstone, there was all this defacing and carving and initialing and pictures that were drawn, and it was beautiful. And I thought I would take that as my inspiration for today's practice, because we have all these dragon poses in yin. So the dragon is something that we can think of as being magical or mythical. They're typically depicted as being winged creatures with horns and breathe fire. Sometimes they're depicted really friendly, like Puff the Magic Dragon, and sometimes they're depicted very fierce, like a medieval time where a knight would be, fighting off a dragon. And movies like Harry Potter, a dragon will show up, and they may have to kind of wrestle with it until they can mount it, and then they become one and they take off flying. I even think about the story Never Ending Story, that movie that came out when I was a child. That dragon looked more like half dog, half dragon. But anyway, they can represent power and strength. It can represent hidden knowledge. It can be a good omen for fortune and abundance and good luck. So consider that as we go through our practice today, and we're going to start sitting and breathing. So let's go ahead and come to the mat if you're not already there. And we're going to be sitting with the spine extended nice and long. Hands down to the lap. Eyelids closed. And just peering within your body to notice how your body feels today. Are there any minor aches and pains that you need to be aware of? Are you holding or storing stress or tension in your body? And just be aware of these things so that you know what you're working with. And then look into the framework of your mind. Noticing whether or not the thoughts are more or less. If they're high or low. Again, noticing so you know what you're coming to the mat with today. And then taking command over the breath, increasing that intake of oxygen into your lungs. And equally releasing the breath back out. Continue to improve the quality of the breath. Since we begin being focused on the breath, I want us to go ahead and open up the side body more. So on your inhale, uplift your left arm. I may not be mirroring you. So prop onto your right hand and curve in that direction. Now you're welcome to keep this angle of the arm reaching up and out. But since this is yin, you're also welcome to create a C curve with the arm. Attempting to keep that arm out of your peripheral line of view. But if that shoulder struggles, you can always drape it down in front of your chest. Don't feel like you have to force it overhead. On your next inhale, let's allow the left arm to carry us back up, and then you can release the hand. Inhale, the right arm will fly overhead. Exhale, curve in that direction. Again, you can keep that arm lifting and lengthening, or you can C curve it, drape it down. The eyes really can be open or closed at this point. Maximize your breath. Especially since these side bends help to open up the lungs. Break up the tension surrounding them. So bravery and courage is often depicted with the dragon, just like strength and power. So affirm internally strength and courage, fill up my body cells. Your next in-breath, right arm reaches up. That's going to pull you back to center, and exhale, relax the hand, and we'll come up to stand. As you come up to stand towards the top edge of your mat, you're going to square the feet, soften your knees, take your thumbs to that hip crease, and you're going to start to hinge over from that point, eventually releasing the hands, taking dangling pose or ragdoll pose. Now this pose can get pretty intense fairly quickly. But if you want to create a little bit more heaviness here, you can always cross your arms. You can always give a little pick-me-up to your sits bones. Equally distributing the weight upon the feet. Sensing the heaviness of the cheeks. Maybe even slightly parting the lips. Refreshing the skin of the face and bringing this replenishment to the sensory organs. Awakening the sixth sense as you stimulate these higher chakras. The dragon poses are what we're going to be putting an emphasis on today. And the dragon poses help to open up the quads. They help to give a deep stretch and release to the iliopsoas muscles that wrap around the hips and attach to the low lumbar area of the back. Consider how dragons, when they're depicted, are not just on land, but sometimes in the water, at sea, and even flying upwards in the heavens, the air. And then breathing the fire, so many elements are connected back to this idea of dragon. On your next in-breath, we're going to step the left foot back. We're going to lunge the right knee and set the back knee and top of the foot to the floor. Because we're going to be in these half lunges for a bit, this may be a good point in time to put a blanket underneath if you need additional support. Because we're going to stack the hands now on the right knee. And we're going to try to erect the spine, but without pulling up to the pelvic floor and backing up the hips as we would in an active practice. Instead, we're just going to kind of sink and surrender downward. Now, this is where if you need stability, blocks can come underneath your hands here. Or if a piece of furniture is close by, you can take your hand to a desk or to the couch. So you can tell this is really opening up the section I just mentioned, the front of the thigh, the forward part of the hip. You can tell when you're lifting this way and sinking, there's some compression in the low back. So if that compression doesn't feel good to you, you may want your hands to lean forward onto blocks to take that away. Be patient as this opens up. This muscle here correlates back to moments of trauma. Suppressed emotion. And it could also be really wound up if we are too sedentary and sit a lot. All right, now we're going to take it into the second phase. Please take the sternum over to the top of the right knee. Your arms are going to be loose as you bow your head down. It's almost mimicking like we're going to sleep. Maybe a sleeping dragon. Anytime it gets intense, feel free to take a cleansing breath where you're inhaling through the nose and exhaling that fire out through your mouth. And moving into that quieter breath. All right, we're gonna back the hips up just a tad so that we can heel toe the right foot over towards the edge. We'll lunge back into the right knee. We'll sink back through the hips. And then you have an opportunity here to go towards a winged dragon, where you're low flying, meaning you're dropping onto the forearms. Now, as you drop onto the forearms, if it doesn't quite reach the ground, you can always build blocks underneath them. You can also roll to the outer edge of the right foot and let the knee wing away from the body. The eyes can close. If you want to move into the twist, keep your left forearm down. Take your right hand to the right thigh and spiral your heart to the right, gazing up over the back shoulder. Then return out of the twist, plant your palms, shift back through your hips. Right knee is going to draw back to tabletop. And as you exhale, glide your shoulders past your wrists, bend the elbows, dip your head and your heart. Inhale, defy gravity and come up. And exhale, push back into extended child's pose. This is going to be our active flow. Inhale, shift forward to table. Exhale, chin and chest, forward of the fingertips. Inhale, power up. And exhale, rock it back to child. We're going to do that 3 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, build some strength. Inhale, bring yourself back up to the stilts of the arms. And exhale to child's. Twice more. And last one. This time when you lean back, you're going to separate your thighs. Big toes stay touching. And you're going to melt down to the brow. Hands shoulder width or wider. Maybe even feeling the difference between the left and the right hip. Dragons are often depicted living or sleeping in caves. When you find yourself steeping in stillness here, close the eyes, go within, and feel as though you're connecting to or dropping into the cave of your heart. Back into a flow. So inhale, lift up. Crawl the knees in. Rock the hips forward. Open up the heart and throat. Exhale, curl your toes. Roll back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, come forward again. Sink the knees, untuck the toes, open the chest and throat. Exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then do that 3 more times, coming down to the knees, opening up to up dog. Exhale to down dog. Holding your downward facing dog. Finding your strength and power here. And we're going to take that dragon series to the other side. So we're going to step the left foot forward. Slowly surrender the back knee, shin foot. And this is where we're going to take it into the high flying wing dragon. Hands stacking to the knee. Thoroughly dropping through the pelvic floor, surrendering and sinking through the hips, even softening the shoulders down from the face. And if you need blocks here for stability, or holding a piece of furniture, and if it's too much compression in your low back, you can have hands on blocks and kind of lean forward and see if that takes it away. Find something to gaze at with the eyes open. This one can get a little wobbly, so that's why I'm suggesting keeping the eyes open for this one. Gaze at one sedentary spot before you to develop the mental focus. From high flying dragon, we're going to bring the sternum right on top of the knee. Loose elbows as you bow the head. Feel free to even rest your chin. And always do that cleansing breath. Breathing out through the mouth. Especially if your thoughts get a little squirrely, or if you begin to feel a little unsettled physically, think of throwing it into the fire of transformation. You're ready. Let's back up the hips and pull up to the pelvic floor long enough to heel toe the left foot over to the side. Transfer the left hand. Sink back into that knee. Drop back through your pelvic floor. Sinking down to the forearms. You know, each knee may be different too. The first knee I did knee padding. Second one. Yeah. Take the time you need to get your body adjusted. Once you're in that low flying wing dragon, this is your choice whether or not you want to roll to the outer edge of the foot and let the knee kind of lean to the side. Choose to stay in low flying wing dragon, or you can take the twist, kind of awakening from that slumber and bowing the head, propping the left hand on the inner thigh, gazing off to your left. Moving out of the twist, propping onto the left hand, right hand, left foot, back the hips up, bring the left knee back to table, ground your palms, inhale, take a back bend, Vipalasana, but you're gonna hold it. So your sit bones and the crown is on the rise, and your belly is dipping down. So round it out, tailbone drops, chin tucks, and drive the shoulder blades skyward. And on your inhale, flatten your back. As you exhale, drop the chest and chin. As you inhale, press up. And as you exhale, push back. Inhale, rock up into up dog. Exhale, rock and roll back, down dog. Exhale to knees, chest, chin. Inhale, push up. Keep your toes curled under this time and push back like Mecca. Inhale forward to table. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more flow like that. Exhale, Ashtanga Pranam, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, push up. Exhale into Mecca. Inhale, rock forward like up dog. And exhale, roll it all the way back to down dog. Hold and breathe. All right, we're ready to get some weight off these wrists. So come back to the knees, untuck the toes, Flip your left hand, thread it underneath your right. Now you can stay propped on the right hand. You're welcome to hug the belly in, and you're welcome to keep it active in this manner. Otherwise, your right arm can loop behind your back. You can flop down to the left cheek and temple and let the belly go, sinking onto the back of the left arm. So yin or yang in your approach. Let's release the back arm. Pressurize that right hand to return to table, flipping the right palm, looping it underneath the left arm. And you can push into your left hand. You can roll towards the right shoulder blade, hugging the belly in. Or you can circle the left arm behind your back and sink down and face plant onto the right cheek, the back of the right arm. That idea and aspect of letting go. Just consider how sometimes we're so set in our ways and we're not always flexible with our plans or spontaneous. So while we were on retreat, even though we had a set plan for that day, if we hadn't have deviated from that plan and been more adventurous in spirit, we would have missed the whole belly of the dragon cave. And it was one of the highlights of the trip. So allow that to inspire you to be more spontaneous.
After holding this shape for about 3 more breaths, we'll slip that hand off the back. We'll plug it down into the floor. We'll unthread the right arm. We're going to curl the toes under. We're going to launch into Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then we're going to travel the hands in the direction of the feet. Softening the knees on arrival. Hanging like a rag doll. If you crossed your arms before, consider crossing them the opposite way now. With the other arm below. What do you need to drain from your body? What do you need to drain out of your mind? So that nothing and no one on this earth can hold you down or back. Bending the knees, scooping the belly in, rolling up one vertebra at a time. When the legs slowly straighten out and the head starts to float up, we're going to lift the left arm and we're going to curve over to the right. We began this practice with the side bend, and we're going to be ending the practice today with the side bend. Now, if you want to work that QL as well, you can separate the right foot, stepping it over. You can drop the left arm now in front of your chest and feel free. You're still getting that side bend. You're still getting a forward fold as you slowly and eventually bow over and down across that right leg. You can stop anywhere along the way where you feel like it targets that section. The lower you drop, the more you let your belly spill out. The higher you come up, you can pierce the navel in to support the low back. And then eventually we'll press through the feet, drawing through the core, and slowly roll up using the back of that left shoulder and letting the head come up last. And then right arm reaches up. Bring the left foot over to the right. And then take that yin variation of the side stretch. Walk or separate that left foot over if you want to work the QL. Allowing that right arm to slink down in front of the chest, the head to bow, and slowly rolling it down. Now remember, you can roll down and up along that pathway to find where you need to hold. Or break those chains that are binding. You can be more loose and limp on the descent, and a little bit more firm in your belly if you choose to come up. Or that blend of both if you're riding that ladder up and down. Eventually pulling the navel in, allowing the back of the right shoulder to slowly build you up one vertebra at a time, hands to prayer position at the heart. Walk the feet together. And then circle the hands behind the back, fingers touching, slither them upstream or across your arms. This is going to be our final active pose. Namaste behind the back. Or crossed arms behind the back. Although if you do cross the arms, go ahead and swap the crossing now. Three more breaths. And you can release. So I'm coming down to the floor. You can join me. If you have a bolster, grab it. We are moving towards Shavasana. So if you need additional layers or blankets, grab that too. You want to send legs to prop up on the couch or sofa, or dining chair, you can. Or you can send the legs over a bolster. The blanket can cover you or go under your head. Now we're going to have a little fun with our imagination today in relaxation. Sticking with this theme of a dragon. So feel free to think about any kind of Disney cartoon character of a dragon, that half dog, half dragon from the movie I mentioned, or Puff the Magic Dragon, or you could think of a medieval type dragon. But imagine in your mind's eye that you have befriended and mounted your dragon. And the dragon begins to spread its wings and fly. Soaring over and dipping down through various landscapes, through the mystical mountains, across the rolling hills, over a plateau, through the woods, across the desert. Eventually towards an island. You go to rest in a cave. The dragon curls up and you dismount the dragon. You realize that it represents the cave of your heart. Stay within the cave of your heart. See what you can discover. If you lose your connection here, all you have to do is turn to the breath. So let the breath drop you back in. And pick up your left leg and hug your left knee towards you. Hold and breathe. Let's release the left. Take a hold of the right. Now release. Let's go ahead and spin over to your favorite side. Coming up to take a seat. And when you come up, feel free to sit on the edge of your prop. With your knees lowering down. Your palms resting down. Your eyelids turned down. Hopefully we have decluttered the mind, the body. Hopefully you were able to drop out of your head and into the cave of your heart. We maintain a positive attitude or mindset. We're more apt to believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So if you're going through any hardships, remember that saying. Allow it to give you some hope and optimism. And drawing your hands to prayer. The light that I hold within my heart bows humbly and respectfully to the light you hold within yours. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.